What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is season 5, and I want to say episode 7, but I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. It'll be correct down below. But what I will say is, Bronwyn is a great newbie and a good addition to this cast. Now, am I standing? No, because I don't get why the girls are pre-standing people and the season's not even over and this is their first season. That doesn't make sense to me. But I definitely think Bronwyn will get a second season, as well as she's bringing something new to the show, which I believe is balance, because it seems like she is very direct with everybody, including people that she is friends with. And I think this is what this show desperately needs. And she got the coin. She got the funds. And we love to see the money, all right? But let's get into this review. So y'all know sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And I just have 2 topics to talk about before we get into the review. So first up is Monica and Heather. So this was posted by TV Deeds on November the 5th, and it says this: Monica Garcia has been ordered to pay Heather Gay a total of $35,853.60 after failing to pay her beauty lab bill, the Sun reports. Hashtag RHOSLC. So I actually went to the Sun article. I'm not going to read it, but I am going to read the breakdown for why she has to pay that much. But basically, Monica got lip injections down at the beauty lab, and I guess she didn't pay or say that she wasn't going to pay because she said the lip injections were faulty. So beauty lab filed a judgment against her and they won. So this is what was in the article, and the link for that article will be in the description box below if you would like to read it for yourself. So it says this: the medical spa had filed a proposed judgment with the Salt Lake City court on October the 22nd, 2024, which was approved by the judge and finalized on November the 4th. A judgment has been entered in favor of Beauty Lab for $35,853.60. The total include the principal amount that the company initially sued for in August of 2023, $2,000 plus prejudgment interest at 18% per year, February 2020 until October the 2024. The interest total is $1,683.62. In addition, Monica 40 was charged a $15 late fee cost and fees of $604.98 associated with the lawsuit. Beauty Lab attorney fees totaling to $31,550. So I was waiting to see if Monica had something to say, and she actually did. Okay, so she posted this the day after on November the 6th, and this is what she had to say. She said, I didn't feel it was appropriate to even comment on this situation yesterday. Consider what has happened to our country, the things that actually matter. However, waking up this morning, I still don't find it appropriate, but wow, the fact that this lawsuit was even news on a day like yesterday says a lot. I'm shocked this morning. There's so much going on around us right now. There is so much happening in our country and world that it's astonishing to me that a lawsuit is even on anyone's radar. But here we are. My lawyers have made comments to the outlets reaching out to me, and I find it so convenient that they aren't being shared. This was a shocking and bad decision. We have every intention of appealing and are confident in our outcome moving forward. I would say that I was surprised by the disgusting, hateful comments online rejoicing in my downfall, but after seeing the decision happening around us, I'm not surprised at all. Hate, discrimination, the desire to destroy and glorify people's pain has absolutely taken over this nation. My girls are healthy. I stay so grateful and blessed for every opportunity I have been given. There's so much in my life happening that I have to be thankful for and that I'm excited about. At the end of the day, being sued by someone in grand scheme of things is a minuscule thing in the grand scheme of things. I'm not the first housewife / Bravo celebrity to be in a situation, nor will I be the last. Believe me when I say we have so much more to worry about. Hoping that all those around our country that are feeling fearful, devastated, shaken, anxious, or lost know that you are not alone. So here's my thing. Monica to me talks a good game, but she can't back it up. She's like a dog that's all bark and no bite. Because, girl, what it sounds to me is you tried to dine and dash. That's all it sounds like to me. And you thought you were going to be able to get out of this, but you got caught up, bro. And you should have just paid Heather the money and gone on about your business, but you didn't do that. So now you are actually being forced to pay over $35,000, which I don't believe Monica has just lying around. I do know that she is like the voice or the announcer on House of Villains. So maybe if that becomes like a regular occurring show, like other game shows, she might have like a consistent job. But let's be honest, like, Monica ain't got that money just laying around. So I get her trying to appeal it. Now, is she going to be successful? Who truly knows? So the next thing I want to talk about is Whitney. So when I tell you the way that Dana Whitley, Up and Adam, and his husband whacked Whitney the other night was funny as I don't know what to me. So basically, Whitney was on Watch What Happens Live with Andy, and she got a viewer question. The viewer basically was like, how does it feel, or how do you feel, Whitney, with the fact that the person that you were saying had all this information and was saying that Lisa was the culprit of putting these stories out about your business, came out and said that he did not say that. So let me play the audio for you. Now, Lisa did respond on Twitter basically saying the truth always comes out. But again, let me play the video for you guys.
Told you it was Lisa Barlow who started the Alibaba rumors.
Well, I'm very confused because he told me explicitly that it was
On
camera. Yeah. And just a little back reference there, I'm friends with his husband.
Okay.
So I'm very confused by the level of thirst and betrayal here because I have history with his husband. He's from Utah Mormon culture, and I'm not going to sell them out, but I'm very disappointed and hurt by that.
Okay.
Trusted the wrong person.
But do you believe that he was telling the truth about the rumors?
I do.
So I knew that Up and Adam was going to respond, especially after she called him thirsty, and respond he did. So he took to his Insta stories because Whitney blocked him, and he took a screenshot of her on Watch What Happens Live, and he said this. So Whitney Rose blocked me, so I can't even respond. I'm not here to lie or drag her like she did to me last night, but I will say this, show the proof. I have all the texts, the receipts, and everything she said about Heather Gay. So I'm challenging you, Whitney. Let's see what you got on me. So then his husband entered the chat and said this. He said, hi, husband here. By our history, are you referring to when I helped you with your skincare brand that changed names 3 times? Or when you used to work with my cousin at Target? I ran multiple business, none of which were MLMs. So maybe don't sell yourself out with your MLM schemes. The one thing I learned from church was forgiveness. So you're forgiven. Do better. So then Dana Wilkie hopped into the chat, and this is what she posted in her Insta stories, which is a post that she already posted, and it says this: Whitney Rose, I'm going to destroy you. You knew from me at that time it wasn't Lisa. So then she goes on to say, I mean, why am I even defending myself when Whitney Rose keeps catching herself in all of these lies? So then Up and Adam posted another post where it was basically showing that he created a YouTube video, and the thumbnail says Whitney Rose exposed, RHOSLC star Whitney Rose exposed plus details, hashtag Bravo TV. And then he captioned what he posted in his Insta story saying, "Sorry, Whitney, don't ever lie on me again." So here's my thing. I don't fault Adam or his husband coming out in defense of themselves. Like, if Whitney wouldn't have called a man thirsty or a liar, he wouldn't have anything to say. And if she wouldn't have brought up his husband, the husband wouldn't have anything to say, especially since he knows Whitney. It's kind of like, girl, what were you expecting? What were you expecting? It's crazy that she still believes him, even though, or the information that he gave him, even though he's saying that, like, what she's saying is a lie. Is crazy to me. But to me, Whitney is a one-trick pony. She has done this several seasons where she accuses people of things, but she never has concrete proof. And then when it comes time to the reunion or the next season, she has to like apologize to them because what she said was out of pocket and she didn't have proof. And I think that's what's going to happen at the reunion, because if she just has a screenshot of a screenshot and she has not verified that information or vetted that information like Meredith told her when they had their sit down, she gonna be looking stupid with egg on her face, and Lisa probably gonna cuss her out. But it is what it is. But let's get into this review. So the episode opens up and we see Lisa and Meredith on their way to the spa. We find out that while Lisa was driving, because they're in two separate cars, she got a phone call from Heather where Heather basically tells Lisa, "Girl, I just stormed out of Bronwyn's house." We find out that the conversation that Bronwyn and Heather had actually happened earlier in the day. So Lisa's like, "Oh girl, pull up to the spa where me and Meredith are about to be." So we actually see Lisa and Meredith get their massages, and then we actually see them go sit out on the balcony area. Side note, Utah has a beautiful landscape. I would like to visit there. Living there permanently is always going to be off the table, especially now after I seen the way they voted. But, it's a beautiful town. Like, the mountains were gorgeous. But I'm going to let y'all know, if I ever get on this camera and I upload a video where I say I'm moving to Utah, two things are happening. I've been kidnapped or I'm about to crash out something serious, okay? And you need to call the authorities because it's going down, all right? So while they're waiting for Heather, we see Meredith telling Lisa about her bat mitzvah and how she wants to invite everybody. I'm going to be honest, Meredith is fading into the background. This bat mitzvah storyline, her marital issues with Self, they're not really giving us anything. The rest of the girls seem to be showing up, like Lisa, Angie, Bronwyn, Mary, and Brittany. Pick me bird ass Brittany. The five of them women showing up to work, okay? And then you got Heather and Whitney doing their usual tricks, but they're coasting. And then Millie is non-existent. And then you have Meredith, who is giving, like, she's fading. It's like she's just fading away. Like, I thought she was going to give us something, because the way that she was helping wrap up Whitney at the table on episode 1, I'm like, where is that Meredith? Where's Miss Alibaba? Like, it's like she had steam and she lost it. Because I am not entertained by this lady anymore. So we then see Heather pull up. Heather basically lies and tells them that Bronwyn invited her over basically to grill her and tell her how horrible she has been to her, and that if Heather wanted to go on this trip to Palm Springs, she was going to have to basically bend the knee, humble herself, and apologize to Bronwyn. And Lisa and them are like, "Are you serious?" And Heather's like, "Yeah." And so, I got up and I left because, like, we weren't understanding each other, and I'm not doing that. And so we then see Heather ask Lisa, "Where are you and Bronwyn?" And Lisa, for some reason, I feel like Lisa is upset because Bronwyn hasn't explicitly said, like, "Hey, what Justin did to you was wrong." So now she is taking everything Bronwyn does as like a slight, because we find out that prior to getting to the actual spa, Bronwyn FaceTimes Lisa and is like, "Hey, are you gonna be okay with Justin and Whitney going to be there?" So now Lisa is taking it as Bronwyn trying to act like not just John and her, are gonna have issues with Justin and Whitney and ruin their trip, or pretty much show their asses the way that Lisa showed hers at Angie's party, even though I thought it was entertaining and I was on her side. Okay. And so she now has an issue. We then see Lisa end up saying that she just feels, in her confessional, I think she ended up saying that she just feels like Heather and Bronwyn are just like total opposites and they're misunderstanding each other. So then we see Heather trying to get Meredith in on it too, to see where Meredith is with Bronwyn. But Meredith takes the conversation in a different direction where she's like, she doesn't even really know if she really wants to go on this trip, because she's just like, at this point, I just feel like I'm tired of everyone trying to blame me for starting rumors and then coming to find out that I'm not the one starting rumors. They flash back to last season when she was like, you want to talk about the husbands? Let's talk about the husbands and the rumors and the nastiness, you know? And so she's just like, I'm not starting stuff. She was like, I also don't like the fact that I talked to Sean at the anniversary party and he didn't apologize to me for saying that I was using my son, Brooks, as a pawn. Like, that's totally disrespectful and out of left field and out of line. And they were like, yeah, that is kind of messed up. He should have apologized. And Sean is like, well, at the time, that's how I felt. And see, I feel like that's a slippery slope. Because like I said in my last Spicy Corner, when I was talking about Mary and the alleged beef that we're going to see between Lisa and Mary, where they're saying that Lisa kicked off the fight because she brought up Robert Jr., who at the time I think was 21, and he might be 22 or 23 now. And then, you know, Mary retaliated by calling Lisa's youngest son the R word, you know, as the things that they used to call disabled people as a slur. And I didn't agree with that. Like, do I agree that Lisa bringing up Mary some, like, that was right? No, because I don't know in the context. Like, if Lisa was being derogatory, then I understand Mary being mad. But then I think it was out of line for her to call somebody's child a slur, if that comes out to be true. And I feel like Seth bringing up Brooks, even though I think at the time Brooks is like 24, I think he's 25 now, he's a grown man. It's just that, like, if you are talking or trying to say that someone's using their child as a pawn and they felt like you were trying to disrespect their parenting or disrespect their child, then you should be prepared for them to do the same to yours. Do I think it would be right for Meredith to say anything disrespectful about Electra because she's 12? Yeah, I would feel the same way that I felt about Mary. Girl, that was too far. But I also am not a parent, so I don't understand or have that visceral reaction to, like, defend my young the way I think mothers do. Because I know my mom, as old as I am, would be ready to cuss and throw hands on somebody if they disrespected me. So I'm just kind of like, just stop talking about people's kids or bringing them up in general. And I don't feel like Brooks was a pawn. Like, Brooks is 24 years old at the time when they were filming. That's an adult. If he felt like y'all was disrespecting his mama and he wanted to say something, then he gonna say something. Ain't much they could tell him to stop, but he grown. So we move on from that scene and we see Bronwyn with her dogs. I'm gonna be honest, I do not find Bronwyn and these dogs cute, especially after seeing all that pee and poop around her house. I just feel like her house smells like a kennel. And that is such a distinct smell. And I don't like it. And she and her husband makes too much money where y'all don't have like a dog keeper. The way people have housekeepers and nannies, there needs to be one to keep them dogs. Because I was like, all that piss and doo-doo around your house, that is not, no, you make too much money. Y'all make too much money. So she gets a FaceTime with Todd. We found out that he's in Korea and he's asking her, so how are you and your friends? Y'all good? Ain't gonna be no drama because I'm not dealing with it. And she's like, no, Heather's not coming. We find out Mary's not coming because she wants to spend time with her son. And we know why. I think Mary is scared to leave for them few days because one, we don't know what's going on with her and Robert Sr. because there was rumors that they were supposed to be getting a divorce, but I think now, like, they're not getting a divorce. He just doesn't want to be on the show anymore. And then also, we know what's going on with her son. She got a lot of stuff going on at her house, but she's not coming. And then, she tells him that Heather's not coming either. And so Todd is he not here for the mess. But I'm also like, Todd, what'd you sign up for this for? I know, as smart as you are, did you not decide to sit down and see how the girls get down on Salt Lake City? So we see Sean and Angie getting ready. Sean asked Angie about, her situation with Lisa. Angie's like, right now, we're not really anywhere. We're kind of at a stalemate. She feels like she's let Lisa get away with being mean to her for too long. But I'm like, where was this last season? Because Angie was singing Lisa's praises, and Lisa was really riding hard and tough for Angie. For Angie to now say that Lisa's very mean to her. It's weird. We then see Whitney and Justin get ready. Justin is committed to not apologizing. And I mean, like, I'm always like, don't apologize if you don't mean it. And so we then see John and Lisa. And Lisa still feels like she is deserved an apology from both Whitney and Justin. And she not apologizing to them. So we had a stalemate. She then talks about how her sister Denise, we saw last episode, is in town and is agreeing to watch Henry while they go. And she then gets emotional and talks about how she is still like, the one thing she critiques herself the hardest on is if she's a good mom. And I really do believe Lisa, because the way that she was crying and blowing her nose, like them eyes was red. Like she really hates that people think that she is a bad mom or say bad things about her being a parent. Like that really bothers her. And the fact that Angie supposedly said those things about her is really like, it's hitting her in her chest, because she is just like, a friend saying that about you holds more weight than strangers. So it's time for them to get on the private jet. And it was a really nice private jet. I wish we could have seen the luxury items that Bronwyn and Todd were gifting to all the couples, because they showed these nice boxes and I was like, oh, I wonder what's in them, but they never showed it. I really liked the yellow dress that she had on. It looked really pretty on her. So we find out that Bronwyn is trying to make sure that everyone's cool. She was like, we don't need Whitney and Angie sitting next to Lisa. I want everybody comfortable and happy. And we end up seeing like a kind of like a mini argument between Seth and Meredith, where the flight attendant comes by and Seth is like, is this a dry flight or a wet flight? And Meredith is like, it's like 7 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I think she said something like that. Why are you drinking so early? And I'm looking at Meredith like, girl, because we on vacation. If I'm on a private jet and I get to be on here and it's free because it's someone else is paying for it, then I'm getting, like, give me all the libations. I'm asking for a rum and coke. I'm asking for a sex on the beach. I'm asking for a tequila sunrise. I'm asking for a Moscow mule. Like, give me what I'm asking for. Okay, can you make a mojito? Like, I'm going to enjoy myself. I don't know what's going on with Meredith, but hey, girl, I ain't got to be nowhere. We on a private jet going on vacation. Liquor me up. What are we doing? What are you talking about, Meredith? So she's just like, ugh. And I was like, okay. So they touch down in Palm Springs. We have 2 cars. So you got Angie, Bronwyn, and Whitney in a car together with their husbands. And then Meredith and Lisa are in a car together. And so there was like this cute kind of scene where Angie is sitting in between Justin and Sean. And she makes a comment about like, oh my gosh, am I safe between the husbands? Y'all not gonna get at each other? And Justin is like, I'm not gonna step forward at you. And Todd is sitting in the front. He kind of turns around, kind of like what? And I'm just kind of like, Todd, I get it. They calling him Father Todd online, but it's just kind of like, your young wife is on a reality show. You need to prepare yourself for the headaches, for the irritation, for the annoyance, for like being perturbed with the girls, because like it's a reality show. And I get it, like your reality is you don't want all this chaos and confusion around you. But in order for Bronwyn to keep her check and to keep her snowflake, there needs to be a little chaos and confusion, sir. You just gonna have to deal with it, Father Todd. Just deal with it, okay? Because Bronwyn is here to stay. So they're in the car. We end up seeing that Bronwyn is a little irritated with Lisa and Meredith, because we see a flashback scene where she was on the plane where they're talking about her conversation that she had with Heather. And she just feels like they were more so on Heather's side, not even trying to hear what she had to say. Like it seemed like they already had like picking their side and their wall was up towards her. And so she's just like, if we're supposed to be friends and you're supposed to be both of our friends, then you should be willing to hear both of us out. But it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel that way. So then in the other car with Lisa and Meredith, Seth is asking John, is everything okay with y'all? And John said, yeah, I'm cool with Justin. I think we're good. And Lisa's like, no, we not, because he ain't apologizing to me. She was like, when I was on the bus and I saw them, I went past him and I flicked him off because like, what? I said, Lisa. Lisa. So then Seth said, I guess everything's not okay because what was that? And John said, I guess not. They finally pull up to the ranch. And when I tell you it's huge and it's nice, we find out that it's $20,000 per night. That is wild. Okay. But it's a huge rental. Like, honestly, I think it's like 2 or 3 houses pushed together. It has a lake in the back and a pool, and like they actually have stuff in the lake. Like there's a paddle boat, I think paddle boards. There's also one of those floating trampolines. Then they have like a volleyball court. They also have a horse stable with horses in it, And then there's like multiple rooms throughout this place, and there's like a west wing and an east wing. Like the place is like huge. And like Lisa said, the best part about this house is if you don't want to see certain people, you don't have to. And that's true. That's completely true. Totally, completely true. So we end up seeing Seth looking for a room that has a bathtub because, Meredith needs a bathtub. And since Seth and Meredith haven't really been like in each other's company because he's always flying to Ohio or she's working, he's trying to do his best to make her happy. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm over Meredith in this bathtub. Like, you telling me for like 2 or 3 nights you just can't take a shower? Like, it's that deep that you got to take a bath every night. Girl, you too old. You too old for that. So Seth and John are looking for a bathtub so they can keep, have a room for Meredith. And Bronwyn notices how everyone kind of like picked their sides. So Angie and Whitney are on one side of the house, and so is Bronwyn with them. And then Lisa and Meredith are on another side of the house. And Bronwyn kind of makes mention of how, like, I think she said maybe when they went in their room, they took 2 sides, 2 rooms. Like, they didn't like, she's kind of like, I guess, like, we're divided. And that's not the vibe that Bronwyn was really trying to go for, but that's just where they're at because she ends up making mention that, like, they got into the house and now I can't find them. And we see John, Seth, Meredith, and Lisa sitting outside on the patio just chilling and talking while the rest of everybody else is in the house talking as well. And she's like, this is not what I was hoping was going to happen, but this is where we're at. So then Whitney is talking to Justin saying how she wants to make this trip fun because she doesn't want to like bring down the mood because she really does like Bronwyn and values her friendship. So then we see this scene of Bronwyn and her husband Todd looking at jewels that she picked out beforehand that she wants him to get her for their 10th anniversary. She also shows a picture of her puppy that we've seen have on the necklace of this really famous actress who I cannot think of her name, but she wore them at the Oscars. So Bronwyn ends up picking this like necklace that was 170 carats that was $4 million. And then these 2 studded diamond earrings that I think were like priced separately, but together, they're 20 carats and it was a $1.4 million. And I said, baby. And I don't know if she's keeping them because it didn't sound like Todd said, yes, get them. But I feel like she getting them. Because I said, the lady just left the necklaces with them. I said, wow, it must be nice. But while they're talking to the jeweler, you got Angie slapping the water. So Angie and Sean were outside playing volleyball, but she kept hitting the volleyball in the water. She thought maybe her father's skill might have like trickled down to her, but nah, it skipped a generation. So the ball falls into the lake. She gets on the floating trampoline in the lake, takes one of the paddleboard paddles and starts whacking the water to get the ball to go towards Sean. And while that is happening, you see Todd and Bronwyn trying to have this moment, and all you hear is like a paddle whacking the water. I said, Angie, stop. Just stop. And then she hit the ball back into the water. So we end up seeing Meredith, Lisa, and John sitting by the pool. And Meredith ends up complaining about how, Seth is working right now because John is like, where's Seth? And she's like, working. And Lisa was like, girl, it's a Saturday. Like, why he not trying to just chill and like, be cool? And she's just like, I don't know. Like, he's been working so much. Like, he really doesn't have time for me. And I just thought maybe he would take time off. So then we see Seth awkwardly come out with 2 drinks and he gives one to Meredith just so he can announce that he is leaving in the morning. And Meredith's like, pause, what do you mean you leaving in the morning? Like, we just got here and last night I didn't even see you till the afternoon. So what's going on? And he's like, well, I think it would be better for me to leave in the morning so I can make it to Ohio and, make my meetings for Monday. And she's like, she was like, that doesn't make sense because I told you to make time for this. Like, are you serious? And Seth is like, well, yeah. So then she basically tells Seth, like, I need a minute, like, get out of my face pretty much. And so he walks away and John, comes up to him and is like, what's going on? And Seth is like, maybe next time I should tell her privately and not when her and her friend are wearing bikinis. And I'm like, yeah, what is going on, Seth? Like, do I think Seth is cheating? No, but I'm just kind of like, I don't really care about this storyline. And I feel like maybe it is a storyline because I'm just like, girl, what? Because then we see a flashback scene of Meredith talking to Lisa, where she's basically expressing to Lisa how, like, I knew Seth was going to take this job, but I didn't think it was going to take him away from me so much. Like, we hardly or rarely get to see each other, and I'm just tired of not seeing my husband. And Lisa was like, yeah, like, that sucks. Like, I know you want to see him. I know you want to spend time with him. He needs to start making more time for you. But it was just the weird way that he came out with the drinks. And I'm like, you didn't think this was a private conversation that you could have with her? Continuing, and then everybody comes out to like hang around the pool. You got Meredith and Lisa on one side of the pool, and then you have the rest of everybody on the other side of the pool. So Bronwyn is mentioning how awkward it is, and she was like, I talked to Lisa, and Lisa said there was no issue, there was no problem, she was all cool, she was good. But then Whitney interjects and she's like, well, it's probably because Lisa thinks that me and Justin should apologize to her, and that's not gonna happen. Lisa owes me and my husband an apology. So then we see the guys all kind of come together. Seth ends up being like, y'all got permission to be over here with us? And they all kind of laugh it off. And they all start playing cornhole with each other. The boys start playing. And so Bronwyn says in her confessional, so Lisa wants an apology from Whitney and Justin. And Justin wants an apology from Lisa. And Whitney wants an apology from Lisa. And she was like, okay, it's a triangle, not a square, because there's nobody else in this. And she said, ultimately, in order for Lisa to apologize, she would have to admit that she's wrong. And God forbid Lisa would ever admit that she's wrong, because she's just God's gift to this earth, okay? So we see Meredith and Lisa on the other side kind of kicking it and talking. And I think Angie ends up being like, you know what? I'm going to, be a bigger person and give the first olive branch. So she decides to go into the house and get shots. So she goes in there and she's like, and it's going to be Vita tequila for everybody. So she goes into the house, gets shots. She ends up passing shots out to everybody. The boys end up getting into the pool on one side. They do like the Wonder Twin powers activate and like, yay, we're best friends. Kumbaya. We're good. We ain't let the ladies drama like affect us. We all good over here. And so the rest of the girls are taking their shots and they're on, I think, in like the jacuzzi part of the pool, just talking and kicking it. So it's kind of awkward. To break up the tension, Meredith ends up being like, hey, y'all know I got hearing aids now, so I can finally hear all of y'all. And everyone's like, what? Okay, that's great for you. We then see, what's her name? Bronwyn gets up and leave. So as she's leaving, I don't know who brought it up, but I think it was Lisa being like, oh, I kind of wish Heather was here. And I think Angie was like, yeah, I texted her to see how she was doing, and I wish she was here as well. So then I think Whitney brings up, well, Bronwyn tried to talk to her and Heather just wasn't trying to hear it. So then Meredith and Lisa is like, that's not what Heather told us. And then Whitney is like, I honestly feel like they're both saying the same things about each other. It's just a miscommunication. And Lisa said the same thing. She was like, well, let me call Heather. So Lisa ends up calling Heather on FaceTime. And Angie is like, if anybody were to ever call Lisa's mortal enemy, they would be pushed into the pool. I agree. But Angie is not the person I want to hear this from when you are somebody that showed up to somebody's trip unannounced. Like, you were not invited to the trip when they all went to Trixie a motel. And you just showed up. So you can't speak, Angie, because you just popped up. Okay. So while they're on the phone with Heather on FaceTime, next thing you know, Bronwyn comes back. Lisa's body language was like, oh crap, here we go. So then Bronwyn sits down and is like, you really on the phone with her? And Heather's just like, you can hear them being like, oh, Heather, we miss you, blah, 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 bye, bye. So then Bronwyn's like, what we doing? What we doing? You don't think that's disrespectful to be speaking to somebody that I'm not cool with on my trip when I gave her the opportunity to come? So then Bronwyn basically starts like pressing Lisa, being like, when we talked about this earlier, about this situation, about what happened between me and Heather, you pretty much already picked a side and it was her side and we're supposed to be friends and you have not heard me out. You did like, I'm like, what's going on? Because when people talk badly and poorly about you and they flash back to when, what's her name? When Angie and Whitney were like, you know, we're going hiking with Bronwyn. Bronwyn did stick up for Lisa. So she's like, so I'm sticking up for you. I'm telling people not to speak negatively about you, but you can't do the same for me. Like, are you serious? Like, for real, for real? And then Lisa is just like, well, you know, it's just like, I'm listening to both sides. Like, I'm not picking a side, but Lisa, you picked a side. Like, you picked a side. So then all the men are watching them argue back and forth. And Bronwyn is just like, really, girl? Like, really? Like, really? Like, this what we doing, Lisa? This is what we doing? So Lisa is just like, I just think y'all need to talk. Like, I really just think y'all aren't hearing each other. And Bronwyn was like, no, I sat down to try to have a conversation with Heather, and she pretty much, like, paid me dust and stormed out of my house. I wanted her to be on this trip. I wanted us to have a good relationship, but she don't want that with me. So then we see the boys kind of make their way, like, float over to the ladies. And I think Todd was like, why don't we just call Heather? And then Angie was like, well, Todd, we did call Heather, and this is why they fighting. He's like, oh, okay. All right. Lisa ends up being like, you know what? There's too much distance in between us, and I don't want to keep yelling across the pool. So she shimmies across the jacuzzi to sit beside Bronwyn. And Bronwyn basically is like, girl, you don't never defend me, but I'm expected to defend you at all times. Like, you don't speak up when when Brittany's going off on me. You haven't checked Heather for the things that she said to me, but I'm just expected to, like, ride your dick till the cows come home. But if I need help or if I'm in a fight, I'm just supposed to defend myself. And Lisa's like, no, like, I'm your friend. Now, I do disagree with Bronwyn when it comes with Brittany. Girl, you started with Brittany. Like, you didn't like the fact that she called your outfit a costume. Then when y'all were at the zip lining event, you basically told her that her life is just messed up and chaotic. So why would you think that Lisa was supposed to defend you in that instinct? Now, when it comes to Heather, yes, I do think Lisa, if she's going to be friends with both of these women, she has to be neutral and call everybody out. But we have yet to see Lisa ask Bronwyn to stand up and defend her. It's giving very much like Lisa wants Bronwyn to fend on her own and Bronwyn doesn't want to. But also we've seen Bronwyn stand up for Lisa in a way that Lisa hasn't stood up for her. So it's like Lisa gonna have to eat crow and start speaking up for her friend and checking Heather when she speaks negatively about Bronwyn. So Bronwyn storms out. Lisa is just like, I'm gonna just have to let them deal with it. Like, they're friends. They're gonna have to talk it out. Like, I don't want to be in it no more. But you were just in it and you did pick a side. So then Whitney runs after Bronwyn when honestly Lisa should have got up and went after Bronwyn, because Whitney wants Bronwyn against Lisa because she wants everybody against Lisa because she don't like Lisa. So Whitney is in the house listening to the conversation and taking it all in. And now Whitney is saying in the confessional, Lisa just doesn't need to get in between what Heather and Bronwyn got going on. The same person who does that with everybody else's situation and their arguments. Shut up, Whitney. Shut up. So then Bronwyn ends up saying, like, Lisa expects you to have her back at all times and also check up on her, but she doesn't reciprocate it. She was like, do you think she has checked up on me ever since I found out that she is cool with my daughter's family? No, she hasn't. She hasn't even seen if I'm okay. But, like, I'm supposed to make sure she's okay after she got into it with Whitney, with you and Justin. Like, are you serious? So next thing you know, you see Todd come in there. And Todd is just like, they gonna have to leave. Like, either Lisa gonna calm down and get it together, but I done had enough that I can take for a whole entire week in 3 hours. I'ma just give them some money and send them on their way. And part of me is like, I see you, Todd, bring the order. But the other part of me is like, again, Todd, your young wife signed up for a reality show. There has to be mess mixed in with it. But I also don't like the way that Todd speaks to Bronwyn. Like, he scolds her like a child. The way that I was feeling last episode where he's like, I'm done talking about it, and he shut it down. And while she was crying, when I'm like, let her have her feelings, let her have her emotions while she talks about this. He's doing the same thing in this moment. And she's not looking at him. And I'm like, girl, it's giving father-daughter, and I don't like it. I thought y'all were more equals. The way you was telling Brittany that, like, intellectually we're on the same level, then intellectually, if y'all are on the same level, he shouldn't be talking to you like you're his 36-year-old daughter. It's weird. I don't like it. So Bronwyn ends up saying that Todd's an asshole. He always, like, that's my man. But right now, I don't need him to be my asshole in shining armor. I need him to bring a Nerf gun, not a bazooka, to the fight. So we actually see Todd go talk to John and basically tell John, like, either get Lisa to get it together or y'all can leave. And John's like, okay, cool. I'll go talk to her. So then we end up seeing Todd tell Bronwyn, I talked to John and I told him, either Lisa gets it together and she straightens up or they can leave. And Brahm's like, okay. So then John is like, girl, what's going on? Goes into the room with him and Lisa. She's like, what's going on with you and Bronwyn? What's going on with y'all? And Lisa's like, well, Bronwyn is telling me I'm not being a good friend to her, but I'm like, I'm trying to listen to Heather and hear her feelings out, and I'm trying to do the same with you. Well, John is like, well, Todd just told me either y'all get it together and figure out what y'all got going on, or that he wants us to leave. And that's where the episode ends. We know Lisa not leaving because we saw in the preview that she get into a fight with Justin and Whitney again. So I'm just kind of like, I guess they figure it out and they get it together. Like you say, is the SLC girls are bringing it. They are bringing it because New York ain't giving me nothing. But the SLC girls when I tell you clocked in, again, Lisa, Bronwyn, Angie, Mary, and Brittany, all the way clocked in. Heather and Whitney are coasting. Meredith is fading into the background, and Millie is irrelevant. But I'm enjoying myself, and I hope you are too. So as always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts. Also, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.